Hello, everyone. It is 4 o'clock on a Thursday, July 27th, 2023. Jiminy Crickets, didn't it just seem like we just started the month of July? As usual, it's always moves so fast, doesn't it? Well, I want to welcome you all and say hello, hi. Today I have some interesting things I want to discuss with you all. And you'll notice again, I am not on screen because, hi, Ikra. Thank you so much. I was hoping you would remember to come over here. I know it gets hard, I swear. But I'm trying to get people to come more on my Instagram. And I'm doing well. How are you? You are the best, Ikram. Um, I have been trying to get everybody to come over to the YouTube channel and just support me over here because it's so much easier that I am, able to navigate from here. And plus, it's hard because all these different, networks want you to do it from their station and so on and so forth. Um, um, I'm not going to do live from Instagram anymore because it's easier to be on. I mean, I want to monetize and get YouTube vamped up, is what's happening. I have YouTube still, and I still communicate with you guys from YouTube. But basically, yeah, I'm just kind of doing everything on this section. YouTube still, and I still communicate with you guys from YouTube. But basically, yeah, I'm just kind of doing everything in this section. Yeah, so I want to be able to, communicate from over here on the YouTube channel and make sure, that we get everything, vamped up over here. But anyway, so good. I am so glad I can see your comments, and I will be commenting with you. Hold on, let me get this. No. Oh Lord, the kittens are getting their claws. Well, they have their claws, but they're using their claws more. Oh, Jesus. Can you please mute? Mute. There we go. Sorry about that, you all. I know I was giving some feedback because I was actually popping up on my laptop. So, but anyhow, what I was saying is, yes, I am doing well. Thank you for asking me, Queen. And I am vamping up over here on not Insta, YouTube, just to basically make sure that I can start getting people to come over here more. And that's basically what's going on. But I'm not live, as you can tell, because I decided that I was going to rearrange my little studio. Okay, and I love it. I like my quaintness and my own space. Don't get me wrong. But the studio is really small, and I've acquired quite a few things over the years. Um, and it's gotten to a point where I, you know, am, I've gotten to the point where I know I want to move into a house, but I just have it gets overwhelming to me in LA to shop for things. But long story short, I'm back. Uh, I'm here and I'm sitting at my desk and everything is everywhere. And I didn't want to put any of this on the screen because I want to get it straight. And I've actually moved my desk around so that it looks a lot better and more comfortable. And I can do what I need to do with everything being where it's at. And then if I don't want you to see my background when I'm live, I can put my green screen up. But for whatever reason, there was an issue with I started streaming or doing my podcast from my cell phone because I noticed that on my cell phone I don't have a lot of the clipping and feedback and things like that, which is great. It's so important when I am doing my podcast that it's legit, you know, there. My apologies. Somehow the mic ended up muted, but I really wasn't saying anything anyway. There. My apologies. Somehow the mic ended up muted. I'm not but sure. I really wasn't saying anything. Yeah, I had. There. My apologies. Somehow the mic. I don't know how it muted. Sometimes it mutes. Not sure what goes on when that happens. But anyway, today, you all, um, I was saying to you how there was a scenario in which in my family where things were not panning out the way that I felt they should pan out with relationships of someone in my family. Matter of fact, what was happening was, the boyfriend and the girlfriend had disagreements. They had gotten into an altercation, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever. But what I'm saying to you is, the girl goes on to Instagram, and Twitter and stuff, and starts just saying stuff on there that you just don't say. And it's interesting topic that we have for our podcast today: emasculation in relationships. It can stem from various factors, and it's essential just to approach it with sensitivity and understanding, like we do with everything else. I know last week we talked about domestic violence, and I'm gonna stay on top of this because I really believe that there's a lot of people going through things and they're not sharing that. We just got another update today about trafficking. And when I start to see things like that, then it helps me, gives me no choice but to think that these are the things that we're dealing with. And sometimes our media doesn't really want to share with us that it's going on at this very moment, or, maybe they want to hide it from us just to make us feel more comfortable. But there are various factors that emasculation from the behalf of a woman or emasculation can happen. And I'm a woman and I date men, and I'm talking about emasculating men specifically as a woman. Now, personally, I do not go there. I believe in exalting your man to a kingship position, and then when he gets where he needs to be, you bow down. And I don't care. I feel like there's so many people jumping on this bandwagon about women being equal to men, but that's crap. And you know it is. But you want to say that you are. Now, whatever your sexual orientation or preference is, that's your business. Nobody's talking about that. What I am saying is that there has never been a time in the history of man where women were equal to men in their strength and in their emotional stature and the way that they handle things. Women, we know that men handle things differently than we do, and when it comes down to that, it's important to be respectful. If this is your man, you need to be respectful of that person. You know what I'm saying? You need to be respectful, and a lot of people can't do that because, unfortunately, what we're going to get into today is why this female has characteristics like she does and says and does things to this man. And you think it's cute to be on the internet talking noise, and you look right down crazy. There's some reasons why some females may emasculate their male partners. And you could consider basically exploring a lot of different factors. Like, one is communication style, power dynamics, and social expectations. So let's talk about if you have certain characteristics that you might need to work on that prevent emasculation. Individuals a lot of times focus on fostering open and respectful communication most of the time. Then they use empathy in their equal partnership in their relationships. So it begins to addressing any insecurities or maybe a need to control the other person. So that's what we want to look at, is how do you address situations when you're in these relationships. When it comes to childhood traumas and issues, it's important to recognize that every person's experiences are unique. Some have common factors, and they could be learned behaviors from a parent, or any other type of role model, or experiencing maybe some unhealthy relationships during childhood. Now, current adult issues like stress and unresolved conflicts or unmet emotional needs can also contribute to like emasculation and tendencies. So when it comes down to that, you have to step back and you have to think to yourself, what am I going through? What am I dealing with? What am I, how am I addressing the issues that I have? Because when it comes down to it, let's say a person cheats on another person, and let's say they cheat with their baby mama. Well, there's a couple of things that you have to think about in this scenario. Okay, first of all, everybody in that situation, it's a triangle. You got the man at the top, the two women at the bottom, or whatever. However you make a triangle, that's you make a triangle. If it's you, you at the top, so on and so forth. But the bottom line is this: everybody in that triangle is actually going through their karma at the time of them experiencing this situation. And I say that because number one, let's start at the top with the man. As the male in this relationship, if for some reason you did not complete the relationship with your baby's mama prior to getting with somebody new, then that's your fault. Whatever you get now, as long as you man or woman enough to handle it. But nowadays, people are crazy and they stabbing folks and shooting folks and showing up at their job doing crazy stuff. So you have got to recognize the red flags, people. You got to look at this crap for what it is. The reality is, his karma is because he didn't finish something with one person. The baby mama's karma is she didn't basically uh, handle her situation with him accordingly because maybe they were toxic or maybe they went through whatever. And then the new chick, here she comes dancing in, can't wait to get in and up under the the dude. But you're not even demanding a certain amount of respect for yourself because if and until this person has moved out of the house with the other person, why would you even engage in a relationship with them? Now, I speak from a platform of scenarios that I don't like going on in and around me that I won't get into. But my thing is when you start defaming my child on social media or my niece on social media or my cousin on social media, then I feel like you don't open the floodgates for me to come in because whatever you said and whatever you saying ain't got nothing to do with me at the point of you keeping it between you and that person. But then once you put it out there, oh yeah, I'm coming. I'm coming with a vengeance. And you could disrespect me if you want to, but I hold a lot of weight in this situation, so you might not if you want them back. That's all I'm saying. And this ain't no special message. It's for whoever needs to hear it, and it's being said because y'all are out here in these streets acting a fool. You females specifically. That's who I'm talking to right now. I don't care if you're 20 or 50. Y'all need to get it together because there's not that much sexual satisfaction, gratification in the world to make you act that crazy. You need to get some control and composure over yourself. You need to address your own securities and get control and get help. Shoot. You sitting up here acting like you got everything handled and you do not. You calling the kettle calling the pot calling the kettle black. Some of the factors that you're having are common factors are learned behaviors from your parents. Now, you want to say, oh, I had the best life and I had this and I had that. But maybe you don't realize that you're blocking something out. And in you blocking that out, you're not facing what you need to face. There's some certain things, unresolved conflicts or unmet emotional needs that basically contribute to your emasculating tendencies. And you have to address these through therapy or open discussions. You can work towards healthier relationships. But the main thing is that working towards a healthy relationship starts with you. I've said this time and time again that what I do is my business. What you do is your business. So what somebody else does, whether you married to them or not, it's their business. You might not like it. You might not decide to hear it that way, but it's the truth. If somebody goes out and they do something that you don't like, then that's their business. They have to fix that. But does that give you the right to emasculate your male partner? You calling them names that people call other females, and then you basically are equating them with a female, but then you saying you want a man. but you're talking noise on them on the internet for everybody to be all up in your business because you're hurt and you don't know how to deal with that pain. First, you need to mature. You know, as a bystander, I have more than welcomed and offered my support and understanding without judgment. And that's a valuable tool that you should want to take advantage of in your toolbox. But if you choose not to take it, then that's your fault, your responsibility. Basically, open communication is encouraged. You know, suggesting that you seek professional help is one level, but if you need it, you need it. Because when you start doing all that other stuff, that's not healthy. It is a mental issue that you have to face and get assistance with people that can help you with those issues. Every situation is different, like I said. So you have to approach this particular topic with empathy and an open mind. And it hopefully will lead to like a lot more insight. But um, as we go through the podcast today, I just want to share with you more in talking to other individuals who might not be aware that they're emasculating their partner. You know, but here's some things that you could say. You could ask open-ended questions and can be helpful, basically to encourage your self-reflection and awareness. And so maybe you say, how would you describe your communication style with your partner? Do you feel like both of you have an equal opportunity to express yourself? Now, some people, when you share with them what you're observing, they don't ever want to see what they're doing wrong, but they want to try and tell you what they think you need to do or what they think somebody else needs to do. All the while, they're not paying attention to what they need to fix. So you need to be real with yourself. And if you can't be real with yourself, you're never going to have a relationship that's healthy with anyone. Because eventually, if you're popping off at the mouth and doing certain things, that can lead to you attracting someone who's abusive in other ways, whether it's physically or mentally. But the reality is, you have to check yourself before you wreck your own self. And this is really, really the reality of it all. You know, um, if you can't admit to yourself what you're going through, then you're never going to get to the next level. In your relationship, you might feel that there's a balance of power and decision making, and maybe you don't. But if you find yourself taking more control over certain aspects, then you have to reason whether or not you're emasculating your partner. Have you ever considered how your childhood experiences might impact your current behavior in the relationship? You might think you had a good childhood, but there's a reason for this situation. Even if the person did something, like I said, hurt you in some kind of way, whether they were dishonest or unfaithful or whatever, it does not warrant you being so negative and persecuting them on a platform of people that really don't know you, especially if you only have 200 followers. Ain't nobody really listening to you except for the people that live around you or next to you or whatever. And in that case, you could have just went total. You don't have to air your dirty laundry on the internet because we don't want to hear it. If you have a personal insecurity or fears that you think are affecting your interactions with anybody, they're definitely going to affect your interaction with a partner, especially if you feel that your partner supports you. But the thing about it is, even in my questions and what I'm saying, this comes with you being honest with yourself. Because, your partner supports and respects your goals and aspirations, and you should do the same for them. But when it comes down to it, you're not their parent. You may or may not be their wife, but if you are, you still have to align yourself with that relationship and be respectful in that relationship so that you don't invade their ideas or their confidence. And even if somebody cheated on somebody else, that doesn't warrant you being negative and nasty and horrible, saying horrible things on social media about them. It doesn't. What that means is that there is a broken link and it needs to be fixed. Now, either you're going to stay in the relationship and fix it, or you're going to bow out gracefully. Whichever the situation is, do it. Because what you're creating right now is karma. Every single time you do something to somebody else, it's coming back. And sometimes 10 times fold because you didn't learn from the first, second, and third time. Do you think your current relationship aligns with what you vision? If you do, great. Work on that. If you don't, leave. You don't have to stay. Nobody's begging you. Yeah, you might be hurt. The other person might be hurt. They might be begging you, don't leave. I love you, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? They're going to be all right. You might have a partner and you may have discussed your respective needs and feelings openly. And if you haven't, then you may have to, you know, have these types of conversations. But you also got to make sure that you are not the person that's creating these problems. Because it is a horrible situation, especially it's always a known fact, right? That when you like someone or you want someone, it's always the opposite of what we, well, not opposite of what we need, but sometimes you want someone and maybe the person you want doesn't want you, or maybe you want each other, but for some reason things aren't working out the way that you hoped that they would work out. You know, um, this is a situation for you to sit down and encourage each other, but have self awareness and find strength and figure out your goals and find out, okay, my goal is to encourage self awareness and personal growth. I want to ask questions with a non judgmental but supportive attitude. So if I'm going to help my partner or even myself, you know, in order to help my partner, I got to help myself first. And I have to explore my behavior and my emotions just so I can gain insight on how basically I need to improve myself in this relationship and what dynamics I need to make sure I'm bringing to the table with in a positive way. Now, social media can have both positive and negative impacts on a relationship, but those situations where you're out there emasculating the man is horrible. And when individuals air their relationship issues or quote unquote dirty laundry on social media, it can have several effects. Number one, privacy concerns. You can't sit up here and be preaching about one thing, but you're sharing your personal relationship problems publicly on social media because that's going to breach your privacy between your partner and you. And both of you, eventually, if you're the one exposing the information, are going to feel vulnerable at some point. But for sure, if you love your partner, they're going to feel vulnerable in that moment because you're just saying whatever you want to say. And they can say, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, but they care. You know, you can't allow these situations to escalate publicly, discussing all these sensitive issues because they can escalate conflict between your significant other and someone else, and it can create more emotional distress, especially when other people start joining in with their comments and judgments. You know, when I was married, I always said that I would never, ever, ever tell anybody in my family what was going on in my marriage because I was always going in with the intentions of working it out. And for the most part, we did. But when we didn't and we couldn't and we're not going to anymore, that's when I divulged what I wanted them to know. But never ever did I once put my personal business out in the streets. Even somebody, that I know of that's a friend on a friend level, I'm not putting that on social media. That's so stupid. I think it is just asinine and very immature. When you talk about misinterpretations and bias, people on social media only see one side of the story. And that leads to misinterpretation and biased opinions about the relationship and the individual you're involved with. And just like with your family, same concept. But you're gonna get back with them. You go to get back with them, and next thing you know, y'all at the family reunion, and everybody's treating your mate a specific way. And why is that? Because you opened up your mouth, said some stuff that you probably, you know, felt justified in saying because you was hurting or whatever. But you look pretty stupid right about now because you're with them, and all the things that you said equal up to zero because you back with the person. When in actuality, the person that you're just speaking of may not have been the actual problem. You just never know. Stress on relationships is constantly, you know, a problem as it is in this society. But if you're constantly venting or seeking validation on social media, that's going to strain the relationship further. But it could be undermined. Your whole relationship can be undermined as well. Your trust and your emotional intimacy, you know, none of that anymore. I know if I get mad at somebody, I'm not trying to be in a relationship with them. I'm really not. It's not like I'm trying to have an intimate relationship with someone that I don't like. And if I was to say some of the things that I've seen some females say, even celebrities, about their mate on social media, that to me is just horrible in terms of, like, how am I going to kiss that person? How am I going to hug that person? When we have disagreements, it is not for everybody to be involved in, number one. And number two, I'm not going to cut so low that I can't come back from that. I just think our society right now is in a very immature state. And some people who are in a relationship are basically in these relationships. Why are you in the relationship if this is how you feel about the person? Once you emasculate a man, it can create power imbalance and diminish emotional and physical intimacy between the two of you. And that's what my point is. How can you kiss someone, hug someone, love on someone that you're calling out of their name? The B word, whatever word it is. Communication issues, you know, can emasculate individuals, and to the point where they're going to be hesitant to express their thoughts, their feelings, because they're afraid that they're going to be judged by you or have further emasculation. And you can then say, oh, he's a this or he's that or whatever. But, like, do you think that any person worthy of any morsel of a relationship deserves to be with someone who's emasculating them in such a way? Because if, in fact, you think you deserve more than what they can provide for you, why are you emasculating them in the first place? So these are things that a person needs to think about. Impact of mental health. Prolonged emasculation can lead to anxiety, depression, or any other type of mental issue for an affected partner. But if you love them, you're not going to do this to them. But if you're doing this on social media, guess what? You're setting yourself up to be alone. Number one, there's going to be a breakdown of the relationship because things like this left underdressed, emasculation can be significantly contributing to the factor of the breakdown of the relationship. So it's important to address emasculation and other relationship issues through any type of open avenue or communication. But my suspicions are, if there is a individual, and again, I'm talking about both male and females, but when we talk about emasculation, I'm talking about women to men. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it how, and men, y'all become complacent with this, where you allow it, and you think that if the female that you with isn't doing it or cussing you out or acting a fool or acting rude, then something's wrong with her. I had someone ask me, it was like, you just always gonna be nice about everything. And yes, you're not getting ready to tear me down to a level that's beneath me. let alone beneath you. So no, therapy or constructive conversations can be so beneficial when both people are involved, but you might have to have someone involved. So you might have to seek professional help if this is worth it to you. Now, I mean, I'm in a marriage, I would say yes. If I'm in a relationship and it's just a girlfriend or boyfriend, I'm going to be like, no, because I can find a healthier relationship with better dynamics somewhere else. But you got to recognize these kinds of things. You have to recognize when you're being emasculated, men, blind spots. People may have blind spots when it comes to their own actions and behavior. And so somebody out there on social media calling you the B word, calling you a slut, calling you no good, calling you this, calling you that, saying this, saying that, they don't even realize that they are the person that's hurt at that moment. And so, like they even may have quoted, hurt people hurt people hurt people. Well, when you're hurting, that's the reason why you out here emasculating, because you hurt. So deal with your pain, people. You can't listen to somebody tell you what their opinion is about what they are observing, because you're so busy being unaware of how the words and actions affect your partner due to your own lack of self-awareness or emotional intelligence. So it gets deep. You know, once you start building up defense mechanisms, it can be very uncomfortable to confront the fact that you have actions that may be hurting someone that you allegedly care about. So as a defense mechanism, some people start to deny or rationalize or just justify their behavior just to protect their own self-image. And nobody should have to go through that. Cultural and social norms, society has a lot to do with how we do what we do. Whether we have social norms and cultural conditioning, both of those play a big part in how we're shaped as people. They say that when a child is 5 years old, they start to become more influenced by their friends. Okay, so when we talk about social impact, we have to think back to some of these things and say, you know what, I do remember such and such and such and such, because these cultural conditionings can play a huge part in how you're shaped, your attitude towards relationships and others, your attitudes when you grow up as an adult in a partnership. In some cultures, believe it or not, there are certain behaviors that normalize or even encouraged, which actually makes it harder to recognize them as harmful. So, I mean, I'm not pinpointing what those are specifically, but what I am saying is that there are some behaviors that become normalized and people think that they're okay. The fear of confrontation. Facing the truth about your own actions can lead to a feeling of guilt, shame, or fear, and maybe cause potential conflicts with others, but you don't ever realize it. You just know you don't have no friend. You can't keep a man. You can't keep a girlfriend. Whatever. This fear is a barrier that needs to be acknowledged and addressed because it is producing harmful behavior. And it's unfortunate that this is happening in a situation that is creating so much in a person's life. It's just so sad and it's very unfortunate. But with that being said, um, I do want to say that overcoming these challenges requires willingness just to self reflect. And you have to have an open mind, you all, and a safe and supportive environment that encourages honest conversation. Now, sometimes if you seek professional help through therapy or counseling, and I've had counseling before, not for a relationship, but mainly just because I, suffered some depression. But with that being said, it is important that you get find a helpline. I know that last week I shared a helpline for domestic violence. There are certain providers, doctors out there that will help you reach out and will help you find what you need in your area. I have provided a number today, 855-381-6392. That's 855-381-6392 for anyone who needs support or assistance with their mental health and relationships. I encourage you to contact mental behavioral specialists. And this is Mission Harbor Behavioral Health at 855-381-6392. Or you can visit their website at S as in Sam, B as in Bob, treatment.com, sbtreatment.com. And if you can't find something local, ask them to help you find someone local or what you can do to find someone to help you all. You know, they are confidentially there to help you and give you guidance and will help you navigate through your relationships as well as the dynamics of the relationship and just help you have, emotional well being. But for the most part, whoever you decide to put your trust in, make sure that they are reputable, um, and that they've been established for some time. But this way, you can actually trust the resource and you can lean on them for assistance and support. And you may be able to have financial assistance as well. So I just wanted to share my opinions and my feedback today on emasculation because I've seen it more and more and it's horrible. And I just want you females, young and old, to realize that there is a way to correct your mistakes and also to leave an issue that may be a relationship that may be causing you pain. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I did go over a little bit on this segment because I know we'll balance out in the others, but this was important enough for me to go over in. So again, that number is 855-381-6392. That's 1-800, or no, sorry, 1-855. And I'm going to put it in the chat today. Um, the helpline for emotional support. My fingers are typing. Is one 855. Scroll past it. Just making sure. 381 6392. And I have put that in the chat on my YouTube page, in the comments. So please check it out, you guys. And please make sure that you get the support, the guidance, and strength that you need from those who will be able to support you in a safe environment. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon. I'll be right back. Be right back after these messages with our trending topics, guys. Thank you.